One of the quiet achievers in the under-18 competition this year is Port Adelaide. The Magpies came into this round with 3 wins and 2 losses. Hard on their heels with just percentage separating them on the table, the Bloods came to Alberton on the cusp of a new era in under-18 football. With the likes of Nick Favretto and Ryan Dykesman having cemented their positions with the seniors, it's up to the next breed of youngsters to ensure West Adelaide remains a strong force at this level. The Magpies looked in trouble early in this match. The Bloods scored twice inside 2 minutes through Mitch Millen and Harry Davenport, but 2 minutes later scores were level again. At that rate, this game would have seen 100 goals by full time. Lucky for the statisticians that both teams eventually discovered their defences. The Magpies' best was Jayden O'Neill from the Port Districts Football Club. Jayden was Port's leading possession getter with 29 disposals, including 10 uncontested marks. But the real difference between these two clubs was Ben Bioli. At just 16 years old from the Gazer Football Club, Ben scored 7 goals and always managed to shake his opponent. The Bloods tried 3 or 4 different markups on him and he beat them all. He only kicked the ball 11 times all day and 7 of them were goals. Blackwood Football Club's Michael Manuzzo was best on ground for the Bloods as an overager. In his first game back from a 6-week knee injury last week, he showed his creativity at half-back flank, gathering 30 disposals along the way. He's already played a lot of reserves football, and after this performance another senior call-up is imminent. On death's door on Friday was Harry Vick. Suffering from the flu, he dragged himself along to Alberton on Saturday, and despite having lost his voice, he still managed to find plenty of the ball with 20 possessions on the day. Also on the sick list, but you'd never know it, was Mitch Millen from the Blackwood Football Club. Mitch suffers from Osgood-Schlatter syndrome, giving him pain in the knees. 18 solid months in the gym has turned a wiry 16-year-old into a strong and fit-looking player for West. He also took 8 strong marks, showing his dominance in the air. But it was the time clock that would beat the Bloods in the end. Another 3 or 4 minutes and Port coach Mark Clayton admits West might have taken this one, but at the final siren it was Port by 14 points. At the Unley Oval, Matthew Krieg's Bulldogs finally found some self-belief. They still didn't win, but for a club used to losing by 100 points or more, some pride was restored in round 7. Sturt was in big trouble early. Big ruckman Henry Voigt was stretchered off with a dislocated ankle after just 16 minutes, meaning that Luke Andriskowitz had to make the move from centre-half back into the ruck. The Blues' lack of rotation tired them out and might have cost them the match, but for some questionable umpiring decisions helping them out. More on that in a moment. Sturt was well served by James Hardgraves from Concordia College. James was part of Sturt's under-16 squad last year and would have been a candidate for state footy this year, but he suffers from medial tibial stress syndrome, more commonly known as shin splints. It didn't hold him back too much in this match, with 20 kicks and 16 marks to his name. Dean Gore was solid through the midfield. Dean is a coach's dream. Playing for the Harndorf Football Club and studying at Urbray, he's always at Unley after school at least an hour before his teammates, either kicking the footy around or looking for jobs to help out Colin Casey, the team manager. That sort of dedication will get you noticed, Dean. And getting noticed up front was Braden Darlitz from Murray Bridge, where he used to play for the Imperials. Now living in Adelaide and studying full-time, Braden scored 8 goals last Saturday from just 18 disposals. But he, like the rest of his team, switched off in the final term and gave the Dogs their best chance of a win all season. One of Central's best was Dominic Douglas from Nuriutpa. Like many of his teammates, Dom commutes at least 2 nights a week to training and participates in a weight program at Nuriutpa High School. In round 7 he impressed his coach with 48 hitouts in just his second game. Back in the side after a couple of weeks with Salisbury West was Domenico Costanzo. This is his first year with the under-18s and he proved his versatility by moving out of his usual defensive position, playing a more forward role. It paid off with 3 inside 50s and 14 kicks from Dom. And Jordan Fernell made sure he got noticed, also in his first year with the under-18s and also playing for the Nuriutpa Football Club. Jordan's defensive pressure and tackling were outstanding. But it was the umpires who got most of the attention at the Unley Oval. In his first game after a long-term injury, Patrick White played up forward and had a lot more game time than was intended, but he was the victim of some confusion in the last quarter when he was running into an open goal after a Dogs free kick. He, like everyone else, thought it was play on advantage, but the subsequent call enabled the Blues to run the ball straight down the other end in what amounted to a 12-point turnaround. Questionable umpiring or not, the Dogs were better. That first win will come eventually, but in round 7 it was Sturt by 40 points. The match of the round was at the Woodville Oval. Two unbeaten teams met in what turned out to be a close-fought tussle. Both defences played well and the high tackle count ensured there weren't too many goals. Just missing out on state selection was Cameron Sandico from Gleeson College. The captain cleaned up in this match. Playing centre half-back, Cam was a crucial part of the Roosters' defence as he mopped up across half-back. And playing just in front of him in the midfield was one of North's overage players from the Broughton Mundura Football Club, Kane Bowley. This was a breakout game for Kane. Having worked with the seniors in the pre-season, he finally made a mark for himself with 28 quality disposals. And also making his presence felt was Grant Coffey's son, Jared Coffey. Having made the move from the Bulldogs, Jared is one of North's 6 allowed overage players, and he seems to be fitting right in at North Adelaide, kicking 2 welcome goals for his team. For the Eagles, another overage player who loves to score goals was Albert Dunstan. But his role this week was to feed the forwards, and he did it well. From the Yadunda Robertstown Football Club, Albert led well with 14 marks, and he did even manage a couple of goals for himself. Tom Whittlesey from Borough played across centre half-back and controlled the backline against some tall opposition. Tom was tasked with shutting down Joshua Ingram, no easy job, but he performed it well, restricting Ingram to just 1 goal after quarter time. In his first year with the under-18s was Isaiah Blumson, also from the Yadunda Robertstown Football Club. Known to his teammates as Izzy, he was always around when the ball hit the ground. All of Izzy's 14 kicks were listed on the stat sheet as effective. Now that's accuracy. And also in his first year is Lachlan Hall, a small forward from the Flinders Park Football Club. Without his defensive pressure, the scoreline could have been quite different. But as it was, North got up by a solitary goal. It's little wonder that these two teams are at the top of the ladder. They meet again in early July. That's got to be worth a trip to the Prospect Oval. At the Woodville Oval, it was North by 6 points. The only afternoon fixture for round 7 was at the Noarlunga Oval. The Redlegs uncomfortably came into this game with just 1 win from 6 starts, but surely they could beat South, who hadn't had a win all year. Well, no. In the end, Panthers coach Tony Bamford had to get the songbook out and teach the boys the team song because for the first time since August last year, it was South singing in the change rooms come 5 o'clock. Best for South was Michael Ross, an overage player from the Kangarilla Football Club. Michael was a marking target up front. His training with the seniors has obviously paid off because he converted 7 of his 22 kicks into goals. He hasn't had a game in the reserves yet, but being a key to South's first win in 2013 won't do Michael's prospects any harm at all. At the other end of the park, Lockie Hartshorn was continually delivering the ball out of defence. Another top-ager, having played for Sacred Heart College, Lockie brought the ball out of the defensive 50 on 11 occasions, the most for the round across the under-18s, the reserves and the league. That's quite an achievement. About 8 of Tony Bamford's team travel from Langhorne Creek or Victor Harbour down south. One of those is Matt Dominish. He's a small midfielder who played up front for a good deal of this game. He even got to play alongside Luke Bartlett, the Never Say Die under-17 from Yankalilla. Luke's not the prettiest footballer out there, but he wins almost every contest he enters. Norwood tried hard with Blake Penny receiving full marks for his performance. From the Tea Tree Gully Football Club, Blake won 48 of Norwood's 69 hitouts for the match, while Dylan Orciello from the Paynham Norwood Union Football Club worked hard for his 11 kicks and 7 handballs. Goals to Daniel Clues and Tom Kerrin in the third quarter put Norwood in front, but Michael Ross steadied the ship for South, and at three-quarter time there were just 2 points in this contest. It would take a team effort to pull off South's first win for 2013, and when Jake Anderson put it through the middle with just 6 minutes remaining, the Panthers dared to hope that their day had finally come. In the end, it was South by 18 points at Noarlunga.